Hi everyone, it's Kristen. Yes, I'm still in costume. um, I just thought, yeah, since we're still talking about this story, The Killing Joke, that I would just go ahead and stay in costume since I started this series in costume. I might as well stay in costume. If you want to see like the full costume and hear me talk about it, then refer back to the first video. I talk about that at the very beginning of the video. And as I keep mentioning, I love costumes, and so depending on like how this goes, I guess, I mean, I was really nervous doing this video series in costume because I'm like, what if everyone thinks I'm weird and like geeky and all that, just all that stuff. I mean, if you've seen my videos, I don't have like the best self-confidence in the world, so for me to kind of put myself out there, it's kind of a little bit, I guess, nerve-wracking, so to speak. So anyway, enough about me though. That's not why you came here. So when we last left the story, Commissioner Gordon was traveling through the tunnel with a Joker singing the song about how it's great to be loony, it's great to be crazy. Let's see if I can remember it. Basically, like, Mr. Life is Swell and Padded Cell, chase your gloom away, Life is Swell and Padded Cell, it'll chase those blues away, trade your gloom for a padded room, and injections twice a day. So I almost have that memorized. But anyway, so he's singing about being loony, and the video is on him of him and the circus people dancing and stuff like that. Which, speaking of that, there's something I forgot to tell you in the second video. Okay, so if you notice, this is, the flashback where he gets the news about his wife, and you notice in the background are two kind of sinister looking circus people, and it's kind of like a nod to what's to come. I forgot to mention that in the last video. Okay, anyway, so now for one of the most disturbing parts of this comic is all of a sudden it changes from the video to pictures of Barbara. She's completely naked. Granted, they don't show anything because, of course, there was the whole comic code of authority, and I don't think it's necessary to show anything in order for you to understand what is going on. And of course, that makes Commissioner Gordon like super upset. I mean, there's his daughter naked, pictures of his daughter naked, lying in a pool of blood, and the Joker caused this, and basically that caused him, to go crazy. He's very, very, you can see, very visibly upset. And Joker at the very end says, which you would think, okay, our pre-programmed response is to say, don't get mad, get even. But Joker says, don't get even, get mad. And of course, he's referring to mad as in crazy. Like he, basically this whole thing, he's trying to drive Commissioner Gordon crazy. He's trying to, he's trying to torture him. That's basically what it is. So Batman, is looking for Joker. He talks to small-time crooks. He talks to, big club owner type crooks. Penguin. And all the while, Jim is still going through this funhouse tunnel. Talks to prostitutes. Although, because I went to a private school, like they were called, like, by my teachers, ladies of the night. Like, we didn't call them hookers or prostitutes. They were just ladies of the night. So, that was funny. Anyway, and then Batman sees, like, the bat symbol, the bat signal. So he goes. Like I said, there's no, again, how they laid it out, no explanation necessary. No wording needed. Just, panels of pictures showing you what's going on. I don't know why this, okay, there, sorry. So he goes to, the roof of the police headquarters, because that's where the bat signal is. And they give him this ticket that says admit one, and, it's from the Joker. So Batman goes off because he's like, okay, well, that must be where he is. Because and plus, I mean, he's looking for him, so of course he's going to go if he's invited. So basically, Joker, the ride's over. Commissioner Gordon gets dumped on the ground, and Joker's trying to get a rise out of him, trying for him to say something, get mad, get upset, something, but he's totally silent. And this, irritates Joker, and he's like, well, maybe more time in his cage will make him, more agitated, more, livelier, basically, to reflect upon the random injustice of life. And that's kind of like him foreshadowing, his own life, because here, he had this good job, and then he gave it up for his dream to become a comedian, because he honestly thought he had talent. And then, in order to provide for his wife and his unborn child, he decides to turn to crime, thinking, well, okay, I mean, I want them out of this neighborhood. They don't deserve to be here. It's only because of me that they're here. If she had married someone else, she could have lived a better life. So, I need to do what I can for her. So just the injustice of all of a sudden she and the baby died in a fire. Just the random, Joker says, the random injustice of it all. Because, what are the odds that this, baby bottle warmer would malfunction, or the electricity grid or whatever in that apartment complex wouldn't be the best. Well, it's probably not the best, probably not up to standard. So again, he might blame himself, because that's where they were living because of him, because he quit his good job to follow his dream. Okay, so here we are at the chemical plant. Since, they basically forced him, said, you have to, you can't back out now, because, or otherwise we'll hurt you or kill you or whatever. So they give him the hood and say, here, put this on. And he's like, well, I can't see in here. And they're like, it's fine. You can, you don't really need to see that much. Just tell us where to go. And he's like, okay, well, you just go past these turbines and past this, the processing equipment, the tanks, and it says Monarch playing cards is just beyond this partition. And again, they never say why they want to go there or what's over there that they want, but yeah, they never say, so we don't really know. There's a guard, and he says, hey, what are you guys doing here? And the guys are like, oh my gosh, you said there were no guards. And Joker's like, well, obviously they, added them after I left. And so they're shooting at the guards are shooting at them. This one guy, a bullet goes right through his head. I mean, it's pretty graphic, but yeah, there it is. And Joker gets blood all over him from the guy, but he doesn't know it because, he can't see. And then the other guy basically turns on him and says, don't shoot, don't hurt me. That's the guy you want. He's the leader. He's the Red Hood. And so Joker, he just runs. He's not sure what to do. And the guards run after him. And then someone says, no more shooting. I'm here now. I'll take care of it my way. Because, Batman doesn't like to use guns. He doesn't like to kill. So he takes over, goes, and then he says this, Red Hood, we meet again, because he's tangled with the Red Hood before. And, Joker's like, don't come any closer. Otherwise I'll jump. And he does. He jumps off this platform into this water, like river, whatever. Basically, it's probably like a chemical runoff you know, like just a pool of, you know, yeah, a pool of chemical waste and all the runoff that comes from it. Yeah. Oh, sorry. I said Acme, but it's Ace Chemical Processing Plant. That's what it's called. So anyway, the Joker goes in the water. He gets out and he's like, what the heck? You know, what's going on? Like everything stings. It's burning, you know, itching. And, you know, he takes off his hood and there you go. And we saw earlier that he killed the guy that was trying to sell him the property, you know, like injected him with something and he turned like to have a permanent smile and the white pasty. You know, he was a lab assistant. So the Joker knows something about chemicals. So that's kind of important for his backstory, like how he makes all these people, you know, into him and how he creates his laughing gas and other things like that. He, you know, that's what he used to do. He was a lab assistant. He, you know, assisted with chemicals and stuff. So we turn from, I will say, the last flashback, and this is also another iconic image of the Joker. And this is like him, you know, going from normal to crazy. And that's, like I said, another iconic image of the Joker and how that's, you know, the moment Joker was born. And so we come back to present day and Commissioner Gordon is in the cage and all the circus people are laughing at him. And Joker says, and here we have it, folks. The physically unremarkable average man. And so basically he's just making fun of him. You know, basically how you have how unfortunately in circuses they used to have people that were deformed. Like, have you ever seen the movie The Elephant Man? This man had like a condition where it caused like abnormal growth on his face and he didn't look like he had a face. You couldn't see distinctive features very well. And like, it just looks like he had a big elephant kind of trunk on his face. And they used him as like a sideshow for a circus. And people would come and gawk at him and laugh at him and just make fun of him. And so that's what the Joker's doing with Commissioner Gordon. He's saying, you know, look, ladies and gentlemen, lo and behold, the average man, you know, he has a hideously bloated sense of humanity, of humanity's importance. He, you know, is withered with a conscience and optimism. And he also, you know, and basically he has the weight of morality and order placed on him. And if he, you know, is basically Joker's, you know, making fun of Commissioner Gordon, how he stands up for order. And I mean, he's a police commissioner. He wants to serve and protect the city. There are laws, rules that everyone should follow. And he is there to follow and uphold those rules. And so basically Joker's making fun of that and saying that most people, like, how do people like that survive in today's irrational world? And he's saying they don't. They crack under pressure. 1 of 8 will go stark raving mad, you know, basically like me. So Batman comes and it foreshadows the conversation they had in the cell. Like, hello, I came to talk. And you see that guy still sitting on that elephant because, you know, he's basically frozen in that state now. So Batman's like, hello, you know, I've come to talk. I've been thinking lately about the two of us that either one of us is going to end up dead. We're at that point. Either you're going to kill me or I'm going to kill you, but one of us is going to die. So Joker, you know, uses his tricks. He has acid, which Batman has acid or some kind of poison. Batman has an antidote in his utility belt. Joker flees into the funhouse. Batman gets Commissioner Gordon out of his cage. He's like, "Are you okay? Jim, are you okay?" And he's like, Jim's like, he shot Barbara. He showed me the photographs of her that he took of her. He tried to drive me mad. And Batman's like, the police are right behind me. I'll stay with you until they get here. And Gordon's like, no, go after him. You have to go after him. And this is very important because the commissioner says, I want him brought in, and I want him brought in by the book. That means, follow the rules. Like, regardless of what he just did to me and my family, we still have to follow the rules. And Batman's like, I'll do my best. And Gordon yells at him, Commissioner Gordon, by the book, you hear me? We have to show him. We have to show him that our way works. And that's like the whole thing, is that he's like, regardless of what he did to me, I'm still the same person. I still believe in the system. I still believe in what I'm fighting for and what I stand up for. I still believe in that. So basically, he goes into the funhouse after Joker, and he's like, Joker, you can hear his voice. So I see you, receive my ticket. But it's too late. Gordon's gone stark raving mad. And he's like, this, and here we get to the whole point of this. Because remember when Barbara asked Joker, why are you doing this? He said, to prove a point. This is his point. Joker's saying that anyone with one bad day can turn into him. Anyone, after they have one bad day, it can reduce the sanest man to lunacy. And he's still talking to Batman, saying, you had a bad day once. I can tell, right? Because why else would you dress up like that? And he's trying to guess what it is. Was your girlfriend killed by the mob? Was your brother carved up by a mugger? What is it? What happened to make you like this? And he's like, you had a bad day, and it drove you as crazy as it drove everyone else. Only you won't admit it. You keep those feelings to yourself. You pretend like life still makes sense. And I mean, he just goes on trying to guess what it is that made Batman the way he is. And I think this is a really cool image of Batman punching through the glass mirror, to get Joker. And Joker also says something interesting, that he's like, something bad happened to me once. And he says, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something. And he said, sometimes I remember it one way, and sometimes I remember it another way. And he says, if I have to have a past, I want it to be multiple choice, which is kind of a weird thing to say, but, I mean, it's Joker. But the thing is, though, that I want to point out, he doesn't really remember what happened to him. The chemicals have affected his brain so much that driven him crazy that he doesn't really remember, his past life. This is who he is now, and this is how he is, and he doesn't remember. And okay, this is where Joker also starts to try to make a point. He says, do you know how close we've come to World War III with just seeing a flock of geese on a computer screen? And this was 1988. In my Doctor Strange video, I talked about the Cold War, how that was very prevalent from, right after World War II to basically very early 1990s. So if you want to look at that video, I think it's Doctor Strange 75. Well, it says it in the title where they talk about they address the Cold War. Anyway, so, and then Joker says, do you know what triggered the last World War? It was an argument over how many telegraph poles Germany owed its war debt creditors. Telephone poles. And he starts laughing. And he's like, it's all a joke. It's all a huge joke, you know. Why can't you see the funny side? Why aren't you laughing? And Batman says, because I've heard it before and it wasn't funny the first time. So really, really quick, like the fact that he mentioned telegraph poles and Germany and the fact that that caused World War II, I just wanted to like dive into that super quick. So after World War I, at the Treaty of Versailles, London, I think like chapter assessment, I think that's what it's called, of 1921, they talked about how Germany basically, you know, and the War Clause Act in that treaty said that Germany was responsible for the war, that they initiated it, and so they're responsible for all the damage, and they had to pay all the civilian damage, which amounted to be, I think it was 33 billion, like by today's standard, and it took them like 92 years to pay off. I mean, you know, as you can imagine, 33 billion, I mean, goodness gracious, for, yeah. And so there's talk though that, you know, that war clause, that Germany was responsible, you know, solely responsible. They, you know, initiated the war, so therefore they're responsible. They have to pay everything back. There's a lot of debate about that. Because of course the war was caused, you know, basically by the assassination of the Archduke Ferdinand by a Bosnian Serb. And of course he was Austro-Hungarian, and so Austria-Hungary decided that they would use that, you know, as kind of an excuse or as the catalyst to invade Serbia, because Serbia was always trying to push their borders into, you know, that territory. And so they kind of used that as like a jumping off point. But at the same time, if it wasn't for Germany supporting them, basically saying, hey, you do this, like you engage with them and we'll support you. Like Germany gave them what they called a blank check, or what history calls a blank check, to just say, hey, just, you know, go for it. And that also served Germany's purpose because they wanted to expand their influence in their territory. But of course, Serbia was aligned with Russia, and Russia didn't like the fact that, you know, Austria was attacking Serbia, and so they put soldiers, you know, on the ground before like it could even come to like a peaceful solution, before they like had exhausted all those options. And so therefore, because Russia did that, Germany declared war on them, and then also, you know, Russia was an ally of France at the time, so that pulled France into there, and then Germany led a they went through Belgium in order to attack, and so that brought Britain and Belgium into it, because Belgium declared that they were neutral, and Great Britain was trying to support that, and so that brought them into it. And so they're saying basically without Germany's support of Austria and saying, hey, here, go for it, then they're saying that the war wouldn't have happened. And they're basically, there's different views on that, but that's what the treaty was saying. The Treaty of Versailles was saying, like, hey, you're the reason that this all happened, so you're the one that has to pay. Sorry. I like history, so any chance that I get to talk about history, especially as it relates to comic books, is really interesting to me. Is just really fun. Okay, the last thing in here. You know, Batman says that he spoke to Commissioner Gordon and that he's actually fine. And you know what? I'm sorry. Like, my talking about history and going off on a tangent kind of made this video run long. So I apologize, and I'm going to start another part to it. And this will be the final part, I promise. Because there's also a very interesting short story that the artist does, Brian Bullard, for this special, edition of the 20th anniversary edition of The Killing Joke. So I hope you will join me for the conclusion, I promise, of The Killing Joke and for that special short story. So until next time, bye.